Hello and welcome everyone to Week 8 of college football here. How are we all feeling tonight?
Woo! Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa. Feeling good, but I don't know if I'm feeling that good.
So, someone clearly didn't bet the under in this game right now. They just scored another touchdown before half.
I did. Nope. Hawks are playing Ohio State. Got to get pumped, baby. No one else has got to.
I like you coming off a bye week, coming out strong here, buddy.
Fuck yeah.
Didn't play last week. Couldn't lose.
Can't lose.
Yeah. Put up about the same amount of offensive stats. So.
Well, yeah, you did. You probably helped your average a bit, actually. So, but no, we do appreciate everyone joining us in here tonight. And say if you're following us on our YouTube, Facebook, everything, just make sure like, subscribe. We're going to be doing these weekly, as well as we got a bunch of other stuff with our road to 272. If you're more into betting, everything else like that. Speaking of socials, Joe, you want to give the socials out?
Yep. As always, on Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse. Search us on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. As I mentioned on last night's NFL show, and if you are a fan of this show and want some more betting advice, always check out our Road to 272 on Wednesday nights. But our YouTube stuff will be searching to a handle at some point, so it'll probably be the same as our Twitter and Instagram. But that's a few weeks away, but you should still be able to just search the Pulse of the Heartland. But, yeah, go ahead and let your friends know. Saw today that we are a 4.9 rated on Apple Music. Go ahead, rate us on that podcast platform, bump those numbers up. Rate us everywhere you find us and leave us a review. Jump in the chats, let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and join in.
And if you were the man that gave us 4 stars instead of 5, we will find you. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I'll leave.
Oh, come on. Not even our own guy gave us a 5. Damn it.
No, we want room for improvement.
Exactly.
Come on.
It can't be perfect.
I suppose, but, well, I would say Clark mentioned, said he wanted to mention his drink, so I guess, what are you drinking there, bud? And we'll go around the table here.
So I've got a beverage that I got to give credit to Ryan Harp for. Okay. He says if you take some Absolute Lime, mix that with some Cherry 7-Up, you got yourself a cherry limeade.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like, I might as well give her a go. And it's pretty good. And fun fact, did you know that there was a time when one Trent thought that a cherry limeade did not have pop in it?
I didn't. Not soda, man.
We had a wager going at one time, me, my wife, him, and Katrina, that we weren't going to be drinking sodas. And here's Trent rolling around with a freaking cherry limeade. He's like, this ain't pop. This isn't soda. I'm good. And it's like,
what did you think was in it, Trent?
You know how they make that?
I don't know. I don't work as Sonic.
Like just juice, just cherry and lime juice, and just
hell yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, we've all made those types of mistakes. Trent, you said you're going sober tonight, right? Just a little Coca-Cola.
Yep. Still not drinking soda.
Excellent. Still
not drinking soda.
Still on that kick.
Joey, how about yourself?
Well, even though I stayed up late bullshitting with Trent and his cousin Dave last night and a little hungover this morning, drove back from Little Rock, and I'm a Rocca vodka Diet Coke. So
excellent.
Yeah, we stayed up till like 12:30 last night. We started another stream, didn't go live, but just bullshitted and watched hockey for an NBA until like 12:30.
Yep. Yeah.
Dave wanted to see how the bread was made, or the sausage was made, I guess. So we showed him our sausages.
Yep.
Nice. And how you made them, huh?
Yep. Exactly.
My daddy gave me this one.
Yep.
Oh, shit. Well,
how about you, Brian?
I would say just the same old Crown and Coke for me as well. So I don't get too original here, but that's because my drinks are original, but my takes are. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Ooh.
So I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about our trivia question until the last like 10 minutes before we started here. But the one I did come up with, I think, is going to be pretty good. And I can almost guarantee none of you get this one. So the Heisman Trophy is actually named after a coach and player back in very early college football. His name was John Heisman. Do you know the only school that was coached by John Heisman that has actually won a Heisman Trophy or had a Heisman Trophy winner? Probably a better way to say
Clemson.
it. Clemson.
Well, how many schools did he coach for?
Well, I can't tell you the schools. Then
I just want to know how many.
he coached. The number of school he coached at like 8 different schools.
Oh man, he must have been a terrible coach. Got fired at all of them and had to go to a different one. And...
I'll give you a hint. Joey is in the right region of the country.
Oh, it's the other one. Damn it. Okay.
South Carolina.
No, I'm okay. South Carolina. It doesn't matter. We don't want to linger too long. Clark, what's your guess? They're both wrong, by the way.
Mizzou.
No. It was Auburn War. It was the Auburn Eagles, War Eagles, or Auburn Tigers.
Tigers.
I read it's War Eagles.
Tigers.
Yeah, the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle, still don't make sense to me. But yeah.
So I gotta ask: has Mizzou ever had a Heisman Trophy winner?
I doubt
believe
it.
so.
Chase Daniel, you idiot. Jeez.
Oh, he won the Heisman. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean it probably would have only been Chase Daniel that was on the at least on the in New York, right?
Did Jeremy Maclin get invited? Remember, he had a monster year one of those years.
Remember, he had didn't he have at least one monster year for the Chiefs?
I don't know.
He might have.
No, I don't know if we got him, but yeah. Well, I would say sorry. That was a bit of a trick question there because, like I said, I had to come up with one last minute. But yeah, he coached at like Georgia Tech for a while. I think he did coach at Clemson. That's where I was like, oh shit. And then like William and Penn said, well, sorry for your unders tonight, boys.
Is this going to go back for another touchdown? What the hell?
Yeah. Sorry, folks, watching us live here. We're watching the first ever interesting Thursday night football game here. So
yeah.
Oh, we got a touchdown happening. We got fights going on in the wild game. This is a good time.
We're just watching Andy Dalton give pick sixes to everybody on the Cardinals defense.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
That's the second one in like 2 minutes. Oh, wow.
Just to jump off that trivia question, he coached at 9 different schools for football and coached basketball at Georgia Tech and also baseball at Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Buckville.
Yep.
So
all-around athlete right there.
Well, that was going to be next week's trivia question. So thanks for swallowing that, Joey. But
well, you're welcome.
I think he won the most games in like baseball, second in football, and then basketball. He might have been one of the worst coaches. I think he only had he was like 2-28 or some shit. He was very bad at that. But
yeah,
he was just he was like
worse than James Naismith.
What's that?
Worse than James Naismith?
For sure, worse than James Naismith. No, I was gonna say he was more like the Stephen A. Smith of his time. If they needed him to coach, he coached. He was a player. If they needed him to clean the school toilets, he did it. He just did a little bit of everything. That's why the Heisman Trophy's named after him.
So Mizzou has only had 3 finish in the top 10 in the Heisman voting. Chase Daniel, Paul Christman, and the other person was so good they don't even name him on this article. So there's that.
It's because we should know off the top of our heads.
I guess.
All right, so this game is still in the second quarter, and we can't have any more points scored for the under to hit. We have 42 right now, and the under is 43.5.
Trent, we can't have that because I need to have the Saints come back and at least cover plus 2.5, or Taysom Hill to start playing quarterback so I can start getting some points at tight end position. That's about it.
Just
give me that Arizona spread cover, baby.
Shut out in the second half right here.
Which, and this is one of those, I'm not going to take this the right way, but this is like the fluke when Iowa missed the under in the Rutgers game. Who expects 2 defensive touchdowns? No one's anticipating that. If so, it's a 14-14 game.
Yeah.
So, but, well, I guess we started off in a good mood, and honestly, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off this one. Iowa State lost to Texas last week, 24-21. 0-4 in conference. 4 combined losses by a total of 14 points. Trent, why don't you just start it off here?
So I have got my Saturdays figured out now that it doesn't hurt as bad if you don't watch it.
Okay.
I go get a tea time Saturday about 30 minutes after the kickoff, so you can watch like the first drive. Like I got to see Iowa State get their punt blocked.
Hell yeah.
You know, set the tone, go to the golf course, and then just follow it on Twitter. So yeah, I think we both called it here. We both said Iowa State was going to lose and cover the spread, and they did that. Now, it would have felt a lot better if we would have won this. I don't know how many times we have to be on the wrong side of getting kicked in the nuts. Like, when do we get to do the kicking?
We sold our souls for that Fiesta Bowl trend. I think that's when we were the ones kicking nuts.
Yep. Here, you want to win a New Year's Six Bowl? All right. The next 4 or 5 years are going to be painful.
If you want me to be honest, like I was at a bachelor party as well, so I caught glimpses of it. It sounds like there was. Well, let's just address it real quick. There was the one bad targeting call at the end of the game. I don't think that dictated the whole thing. I'm sorry, non-call. Hey, Dart. I don't think that dictated the whole game. It just sucks whenever there's a bad call on the last drive. That's what sticks in your mind. If it happened in the second quarter, like when Baylor had a couple of theirs in the first quarter, then we realized, well, in the third we gave up. That's why we didn't have enough time to come back. This one, it just stings because, I mean, let's just completely flip 180 it. If that is Quinn Ewers that's running and we have a defensive player, again, I think it was like shoulder to helmet is why they were or shoulder to shoulder, and it wasn't 100% of the definition. But if you come at someone that aggressively as a quarterback, the Texas quarterback, we're getting a penalty on that one, or at least unnecessary roughness. It doesn't need to be targeting. And absolutely, I hate when the targeting kicks someone out. So I didn't even want that one, but it's just, as being a non-call that they also reviewed, that one was really tough.
Yeah, and I mention this podcast about every week, but on the Williams and Bloom podcast on Cyclone Fanatic, they were kind of explaining the rule, and he at that point was a defenseless player, because if you're being held by a defensive player and the other guy comes in and smacks you like that you're defenseless. So that's hitting a defenseless player. So that should have been a penalty in itself right there. But then they don't call it. And I mean, I know they said, oh, he might have hit him in the shoulder pad, whatever. Yeah. I saw a picture. It was this guy's helmet. I mean, there is a red mark right on the top of his helmet, like the crown. Wow. I mean, it was textbook. Like, yeah, I don't know how they don't throw a flag on that for any. I mean, who knows? Not targeting. Don't throw the kid out, but defensive player. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they look away. Like, I just do not get it.
The best ways. I literally don't know how the Baylor game, it was called one thing. In this game, it's called another. And you know, Big 12 just overall, because I've even watched a few other games. It's like, do we I think every conference fan says this. I think we might legitimately have the worst officiating school, crew, whatever you want to call it, bringing them up, because, like, my goodness.
Oh, you do. Okay, 1,000%. Yeah, every time that there's a bowl game and it's a Big 12 officiating crew, especially if it's not a Big 12 team in there, I cringe. I'm like, fuck. These people don't even know how to play this game, because they're going to call it completely different. So I agree with you. You guys have the worst conference for refs, and I don't know why.
Yeah, if you could watch 10 different games and that hit's going to get called 10 different ways. It's like, there's so many layers to this rule and so many ways to interpret it that it's hard to officiate it. And I don't even think refs know what targeting is right now.
Well, yeah, and I get that. And I mean, that makes complete sense that it's hard to interpret. But it seems like the ones in your guys' conference aren't consistent with it. And it's not consistent even from game to game. Like, you'll have the same crew that does, 2 different games for the same team in the same season, and it's called completely different. So I don't understand it.
Now, one optimistic thing about that game was Iowa State's offense looked better. If Iowa State's offense played like that in all their Big 12 games, they'd be 3-1.
Yep.
So they would be 6-1 right now. They would have lost to Texas because they did playing like that. Now, if they would have beat Kansas State playing like that, they'd beat Kansas. and
I
Baylor,
think we still
if their
lose to
offense
Baylor,
played.
to be honest.
Well, yeah.
That one, I think we gave up, and then they were just like foot off the gas, and it was just enough. But yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of encouraged. I think we're starting to go through the steps of grief where we've had the best run in school history, going to bowl games for the last 5 years. I think it's slowly starting to sink in that we have such a high standard, which is good, and we're losing, but we're kind of getting to the anger part. Now we're kind of getting to the, I don't know, the full 5 steps, but like acceptance, where it's we potentially aren't going to a bowl game this year. Even the guaranteed rate bowl or wherever the fuck is the lowest bowl, because I mean, not only we're just having a down year and we're losing these 50-50 matchups, but the conference is damn tough this year. I mean, when you take the bottom and you have Kansas that's competing in games, you also have West Virginia that's beating Baylor. I mean, they're not. There's no gimme games. There's no Indiana, Rutgers. There's no. I mean, hell, there's a lot of bottom teams, not even just in Big 12, that are starting to come up now. Like UCLA wasn't terrible last year. Illinois, fucking that one popped up out of nowhere, which I'm kind of shocked at where they're at, but. I don't know. We'll wrap up Iowa State quick here. I feel encouraged about it. I think we're kind of accepting this is the young rebuilding year that we expected. We didn't expect after 3-0, but we're slowly like, oh yeah, this was the expectation. This is a young team that's coming together. And honestly, this is where Matt Campbell's starting to shine. A team that shouldn't be play. We were 16-point underdogs and we kept it within 3, and we had a lot. We had a lot of opportunities in the margins to win this game too.
Yep.
I mean, Xavier Hutchinson catches that pass, touchdown, game over. Like Iowa State wins that, and it's just a drop. He's done that a couple times this year, just dropped passes in the end zone. So, you're one ball away from winning.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's away from being undefeated. So, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, as an outsider looking in on you guys, I thought that game, you guys, it wasn't so much that Texas won that game. You guys lost that game, and that sucks for you guys. And I still think you have a good team. I still think, Oklahoma's. I think all the rest of your games are winnable, including Oklahoma State and TCU. I just think you guys are a good enough team that you can compete with everyone in your conference. So, hope fingers crossed for you guys.
Got to win 3 out of the next 5.
Right.
Easy as that.
I really wish we would have had a bye week with Iowa, Joey, because last week was when we needed that bye week. 0-3 in the conference. Let's get ourselves together. If we would have had that bye week going into Texas, I think that could have been a different story. But I'm really encouraged that we have this bye week. We are trending in the right direction, even though it was a loss. We have a bye week, and we have a big game versus Oklahoma, which we have competed in. And Brett Venables' defense is looking like Dookie right now. So, I mean, I'm feeling encouraged. We have an extra week to prep for, oddly enough, should be one of our easier matchups the rest of the way. If we can get a win going in after Oklahoma, that's you're 4-4 at that point. And you just tell them we got to win 2 of 2. We got Texas Tech and West Virginia that are going to be revenge games. Those kids remember how shitty those losses are. So I think we have a very solid chance at still going bowling. 6-6 though. If we made 7-5, that would be we're upsetting someone major.
So speaking of Texas, and not to, if you guys are done with Iowa State, we can move on just real quick. How are they 6-point favorites at Oklahoma State this week?
Did you look at my lock of the week?
Yeah,
not yet.
Just typed it in.
Nice.
I've already put in bets, and I have Oklahoma State covering that one as well. I mean, you got to think Oklahoma State's defense isn't. I think Iowa State has the best defense in the conference. If I have to toot our own horn about something, but Oklahoma State is up there. Or I would say Oklahoma State has the athletes to compete on defense, but their offense can actually do something. I mean, Texas gave up 21 points to a team that hadn't had touchdowns, hardly in the 2 weeks previous, So
right.
I a touchdown favorite on the road versus a team that was in the conference championship last year. That is tough. I just think the Quinn Ewers hype is really high up right now.
Yeah, a team that played an amazing game against TCU last week that is close to being undefeated as well. Like, I mean, it's not like Oklahoma State is a bad team by any means. So I don't get that. That Texas hype, baby. Jesus Christ. They say everything's bigger in Texas. No shit. All the hype, too.
Their egos. Clark, you got any comment on that? Okay. Well, let's get
I'm
to
taking
the
Oklahoma State money line. It's happening.
Oh,
nice. That's pretty solid. I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, they're at home. Oklahoma State, they've got their loss out of the way. Now they're hyper focused. It's like the Chiefs when they lost to the Colts and now to the Bills. They're going to be hyper focused these next few weeks to make sure, because you can't lose more in one game and be in our conference championship game. So,
Right.
So last week Clark was talking good on Texas, getting on Torres' good side, and now,
I
it's
just
over.
think that Oklahoma State's okay. Like,
All right.
they're going to be all right. Ain't no worries with them long
What a-
ones coming down.
what a
They got
hot-
a better looking orange anyways.
what a hot take there. Oklahoma State is okay. Whew, riveting.
They're lukewarm.
Speaking of okay, what do you got on your head there, Clark? What are you doing with that?
I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this, Joey, but Call of Duty's out today, and that's why the defense is doing so good in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, he's like playing at the half probably right now, getting a little campaign in. So
He knows the sooner this game is over, the sooner he can jump into it's not Verdansk, but we'll just say it's Verdansk and be there with Captain Price, you know. But so Trent, you said you missed the Iowa State game. Did you guys see the instant classic that was Tennessee Bama?
Yes.
Joey,
I didn't watch it live. I I watched highlights afterwards. I was busy all day Saturday. So
that was an incredible game. You know,
fuck yes, it was.
Over 1,000 yards of offense, over 100 points scored. You know, the late in the game possessions back and forth. I was, you know, Hendon Hooker. That was his Heisman game right there. Go take it. It was at home, but being able to lead his team over Nick Saban and fucking carrying the field goal post out the field, it was just incredible.
Yeah, that was a really good game. And I think I mentioned this on Monday's pod about the whole thing on campus where like they were outside the stadium for all these students that couldn't get inside, and they had this casted on this huge screen, and it was on a 12-second delay. So like the fireworks are going off in the background. Everybody's cheering. These kids can hear it. And then like the guy with the camera like turns around to the screen, and then the guy kicks the field goal. It's like they knew the result already. So that was a pretty cool video.
And I believe I heard a really smart picker last week say that you have to have one loss to get in the college football playoff. So yeah,
There's Bama's loss.
There it is.
Yep.
Well, Tennessee's a bunch of idiots for winning that game. Then,
Yeah.
I think what they say, they're the first team ever to have 4 ranked wins in the first like 6 weeks, and I mean this is their time to shine. You know, they have a big game. Is it Georgia this weekend, or is that next week?
I think it's Kentucky this week and Georgia next week.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just hope that Tennessee doesn't have the letdown game versus Kentucky. We need to have that huge matchup. As much as I hate SEC, you know, just for college football, we need a 1 versus 2 in the middle of the year.
Sorry, it's UT Martin this week and then Kentucky next week.
Oh my God.
Got their cupcake game in the middle of the conference ready to go.
It's that letdown game. Smash that UT Martin money.
I'm all for UT Martin causing chaos right now. That would be after beating Bama, losing to UT Martin. That'd be chef's kiss of chaos right there.
Go ahead.
Has anybody heard if Tennessee got the new goalpost put in yet?
That I'm not sure. I am sure they've yeah, because the game's at Tennessee. I'm sure it's got to be in at this point.
They're going to have to be.
They got to go for 2 every time.
Like I can't believe that they didn't have those things on hinges. I know I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Where game's over, people go out there, unbolt it, lay it down. Like, no, those things got freaking ripped out of the freaking ground.
Now that would be an interesting development in football to make it interesting. Taking out one field goal post, so you can only kick field goals one way. So if you're going the other way, you either have to punt or go for touchdowns. Now all of a sudden you have to think about which way you want to kick at the end of the game.
So there's been 2 games I know in modern history that they had to only go one way, and it was because of gale force winds in God damn, I want to say a Penn State game. That only allowed them to go one direction, and then the other one was there was flooding in the bottom end zone of like Eastern Washington or something. They had to only go in that one way, so that's insane, but still kind of funny.
So just to make it interesting, they should have made him go into the wind.
Yep.
If you make a field goal into the gale force winds, you get 4 or 5 points. Depending on over 30, it's 4 points. Over 40, it's 50, or it's 5 points.
Yep. I mean, football should just adopt the fantasy rules. Like if you make a 50-yarder, it's 5 points. 40-yarder, it's 4 points. Like you'll be seeing people trying to kick 70-yarders then. I mean, it's the same as a touchdown.
I think with NFL it would be too easy. I think if you were to kick field goals and extra point, it has to be over 50 yards, and then you go to 4 points, 60 yards, 5 points. I think that would be just enough of an interest where it could change it. But it's not going to dramatically because now all of a sudden kicking a 42-yard field goal, you're like, well, fuck, we just got to stop now and get 4 points instead,
Yep. I mean, it's a whole new game. That'd be fun as shit. So, but Tennessee has UT Martin, Kentucky, and then Georgia. So.
Is there not a line on this Tennessee game this week? I can't find it unless I'm looking for here on FanDuel.
Usually those FCS schools they don't set a line until like super late. It feels like because you're going to get an astronomical line this early, like they're 45-point favorites, and all of a sudden you get to game time, it's like actually it's probably closer to 38 or something. All of a sudden you have all these people that are going to win money on that upstairs line.
There is a line, a futures line for Tennessee versus Georgia.
That's all I could find.
Ooh, what's that line? Georgia 6?
11.5 Georgia.
Ooh.
Georgia.
Like Alabama, they're a 21-point favorite over. God dang, I just saw who they're playing, and they're ranked in the top 25. They're a 21-point favorite over them.
Mississippi State.
Oh, Mississippi State.
Yeah, they're 24th, and Bama's a 3-touchdown favorite.
Mad Saban at home. I'm kind of tempted to take Bama with those points.
No mercy.
But their defense is undisciplined, dude. I think they said they're the most penalized, one of the most penalized teams in the country.
Yep, and they had 19 penalties in this one, which is the 2 more than any other, than the second highest in any Saban game ever.
Wow.
Now we mentioned this on. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say, and one of the other ones that are tied for second now, that was tied for first at 17, was also this year. So yeah, they're not disciplined whatsoever.
No, we saw that a bit in the Texas game. They just hadn't played a team with the skill level to compete with them like Texas did have at that point, and Tennessee had, and they won in the margins. So I don't know. Good for Tennessee. I wouldn't say college football is tremendously better when Tennessee is better. It's just kind of nice to see the top team be brought down a couple notches.
All this does is set up for 2 teams to be in the playoffs from the SEC now.
Yeah.
Because anytime an East team beats Alabama runs the table in the West and wins the SEC championship. Even if it's Georgia or Tennessee, if they're undefeated in that SEC championship game, they're going to jump in over someone from the Big 12 or Pac-10. So, wonderful time.
No, we've seen it time and time again, Joey. It's a tale as old as time. They have the good loss, and everyone is saying these matchups that make me want to vomit. Well, there's technically a way where 3 SEC teams could get in, and I just want to yell, and you wonder why we want a 12-team playoff. Because then, sure, get your 5 to 6 SEC teams in there, but then you're going to get the 6 best other teams in there, and you're going to have to compete rather than stacking the deck in your favor all the time.
Everyone should just be in the Big Ten, then you always get in.
You know, I would like an easy game versus like a Rutgers or a Indiana every once in a while,
Would be nice.
Or Nebraska, just how many schools have fired their head coaches? Is it still 2 or?
I think just 2 still.
Just 2? Okay.
Hawkeyes haven't yet, so.
We still got time.
They had one job this week.
Fucking Barta. God damn it.
That one, I don't know, man. I said it earlier, so I think it still potentially goes where Kirk just goes, if you fire your son, you're firing me. And, after some of the comments and the lawsuit and everything else, maybe people are starting to think about paying it off or the buyout. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. But I don't know.
I don't know either. I really, I don't need to go off like I did last night on Russell Wilson, but the whole Kirk Ferentz thing, I've been over him for 3 years now.
We'll move on from Iowa. Michigan proved they deserve to be in the conversation. I think the big thing with Michigan is everyone was thinking that they had a cupcake schedule, that they hadn't played anyone, and then first real opponent they've had, they demolished them 41-17.
Yep. Yeah. They came and punched Penn State right in the face, and Penn State was leading 17-13 at half, and then that second half, Michigan just kept volleyballing them, and it was a good game. So I'm sorry, it was 16-14 at half. Michigan was up 2. Why was I thinking that?
Okay. I was going to say, my God, if they went for 28 unanswered, that's incredible. But that's what a playoff team should be doing. So, I mean, that's going to just lead up to the better what do they call it? Is it just called the big game, or is it called the game? I can't remember. I get Harvard, Yale, and Ohio State, Michigan mixed up.
It's probably the big game or some shit like that. So
the with 2 E's and there's a tuba over whatever has a dot on it or some shit.
Yeah. I have no idea. I just know it's Ohio State, Michigan. So
that should make a good matchup at the end of the year. TCU survived a shootout versus Oklahoma State 43-40. I did not catch this game. I just tried to highlight the games that we're starting to see the playoff implications starting to come into play here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, TCU undefeated still. I think a lot of people had them picked dead last in the Big 12.
Yep.
To start the season.
So I know this kind of goes without saying because they're undefeated. But you Big 12 fans, are they legit, or are they just winning games that they shouldn't be winning at this point?
Well,
I don't think they're the best team in the conference.
Who is?
Who would that go to?
I hate to say it, but probably
Dare say Baylor. Don't even.
They can't even beat West Virginia. Come on. Right now, as much as I don't want to say it, probably Texas.
I mean, they beat Iowa State, so I mean,
yeah, if you can beat Iowa State, you're the best in the conference.
I mean, there's 4 teams that are the best team in the conference right now.
Yeah, the top 4 teams in the conference right now are Texas, K-State, KU, and Baylor because they all beat Iowa State. It's 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D.
So what's going on with KU there, Clark? What the fuck? 5-0 fairy tale, and now we're 0-2.
Yep, they're on a 2-game skid right now. They lost down in Norman to the Sooners by 10, and then they just.
You haven't been on a 2-game skid since last year. Never mind.
Hey, they've won more games than they've lost right now. That's what we got to go with. Okay.
Yeah. You've won like 2.5 times the games you typically win. Sometimes up to 5 times as many games the last decade. So
yeah,
it just took one loss, and KU remembered we're KU.
Actually, that check that we were going to give to Booth Stadium, they just rip it up and they just hand it to Bill Self. Keep winning games. Thank you, sir.
Well.
It feels good that they're finally realizing the importance of basketball. You can always be great at, but the money maker is going to be football. And I bet you your mark coming in and emphasize we're starting to realize that's the importance. Why do you think the Big Ten and SEC are making all this money? There has to be a stressed importance. Same thing with Iowa State a couple decades ago, where we were the laughing stock and have JV quality, facilities. They're bringing it up to what it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at last week against OU got their quarterback back in the game last week. Didn't look pathetic as they were the week before when they played Texas. So, Good for OU.
Gabriel was back then?
Yeah. He had 42 pass attempts, completed 29, 400 yards. So he's back. So
shit, I didn't want to hear that. I was hoping that they're going to be like General Booty by the time they came to Ames.
Sorry, man.
General Booty.
They still gave up 42 points to old Bean and the boys, so.
The old bean flicker?
Yeah, a little bean flicker.
Yeah, do you think that KU wins that game if Daniels is playing? I do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I think they cover.
If KU's, getting the same freaking offense thrown at them as OU was thrown at Texas, where they had, running backs trying to throw passes. They had like 8 different people try to complete passes in the game against Texas. Like, hell yeah, Kansas wins that game.
I like it.
Daniels is that much better for KU's offense? Jesus, why am I stumbling?
Oh, you think do they win if Jalen Daniels is in over Bean?
Yeah.
Probably. I think he's a little more athletic,
too.
A little more dangerous.
I do too. I think Bean's good, but I think Daniels was just on another level going for a while, and then
he was a starter for a reason. So
yep.
Kansas has 2 of the biggest what-if games versus Sooners the last 2 years, between the bullshit handoff fumble last year by Caleb Williams, handing it off to the running back for that 4th down conversion, to the injuries with your quarterback. At least you have the built-in excuses. I mean, that if you're Kansas talking about playing Oklahoma football, that's a win. That's a moral victory right there.
Yep.
So
where's our buddy Don at tonight? Are we live? Because I don't see him messaging anything. I'm kind of lonely over here.
Well, he missed us last week because we were on that other platform because it wasn't working. He probably thinks Pulse of the Heartland just went under.
Yeah. It just went under. No one. They went bankrupt.
We declared one Thursday.
I declare bankruptcy.
Well, a couple weeks ago when I was doing my college football picks, I was feeling that, and I had that's the bad thing with gambling. I went like 1 for 9 in picks for the weekend and like betting actual money, and then I just went ham on the Chiefs, like money, the Raiders game, the money line, Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. That was the easiest bet of the year, and like a couple like touchdown scores, and all of a sudden I was back up to my like above what my originally was, and it just draws you back in. You get that one big parlay hit, and all of a sudden you think you're on top of the fucking world.
Yep, I'll touch on my money losing later on for my Wisconsin pick.
Last big game that we had, Utah went for a 2-point conversion late in the game, which is, I think a lot of people are realizing if you want to win the big games, you just got like analytics, whatever. You just got to be aggressive. No one expects it that late in the game. And Utah pulled off the upset versus USC 43-42. Did anyone happen to catch that game?
Fuck yes, I did. I am all in on this Pac-12 entertainment at the end of the Saturday nights this year. This is awesome.
You get a little Pac-12 after dark, got you feeling something?
Okay, well, when I got home, because we went to Rochelle's mom's house for dinner and stuff and met her nephew, or her new nephew, and got home and I was like, oh, fuck, it's USC, UCLA tonight. I got all pumped and I turned it on. I was like, oh, it's Utah. Oh, it's Utah. Awesome. And watched the rest of that game, and fuck, man, Cameron Rising is awesome. Utah just punched him in the mouth. It was great. So normally it's the go for the win on the road and go for the tie at home, and Utah just threw that out the window and said, fuck that, we're going for the win right now.
It was kind of weird because, like, you're seeing the last few years, like, there's just teams that Alabama has been really down for a while, had been down before Saban got there. Texas had been down for a decade, and they're slowly starting to come back. You're slowly starting to see Oklahoma fans for the first time go through what we all do when you have either someone leave your school or a coach fuck you over, or because Lincoln Riley left them. Like, I remember reading message boards last year about, they're like, is this legal that he breached his contract? It's like, because they've never seen in like fucking 45 years a coach that willingly left, and like you'd see like and I'm sure, I guarantee Iowa State, and probably I have done it, where they saw Caleb Williams crying after losing the game, and they're like, that's what he deserves. That's why he wouldn't have made it at OU. It's just like, my God, man, like you guys have had like 3 decades of unparalleled success in the conference, and the first trying time you're happy because you beat KU. You beat KU in a week, and then a quarterback that left you lost by 1 point in a very tough game. Like it was just like I'm not going to say pathetic, but it was just like I've never seen Oklahoma. They've never had to deal with it before. It was just kind of odd to see.
I think it's funny when you're like, oh, their fans are like, is that legal? Can he do that? Like, you ever heard of Gene Chizik?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheese dick.
Do you want to talk to Iowa State fans about this? Yeah.
Yeah. Old he's still in North Carolina, Trent, just so you know. So don't root for North Carolina the rest of the year.
Nope.
Him and Mackie Mac. Last point I have on the USC game. I still don't trust a Pac-12 team, even though my 8th favorite team, according to Bryant, UCLA, is still undefeated, and I think they're going to win this week against Oregon.
Against your 5th favorite team, Oregon.
No. I don't like Oregon. Never have, never will.
It depends on what jerseys they're wearing, Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all black with the silver. That is pretty fucking dope. But no, I still don't trust anyone coming out of that Pac-12, 10, whatever they are now.
Pac-10.
Yeah.
Pac-10, are they Pac-12?
Pac-12.
I
Never
thought they were
mind.
Pac-12, yeah.
I'm already counting USC and UCLA out of there. That's my bad.
Yeah, I still don't trust anyone out of there. But man, if you're up late on a Saturday night watching, it's entertaining as shit football. It's good.
Yep. No, I agree. Well, let's talk about some real football coming up this weekend, right, Joey? Iowa, they're only 30 points at Ohio State this weekend. They're the big noon game.
I'm continuing this dude perfect shit from last night, just FYI. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, take it away, Joey.
So yeah, Iowa's going into Ohio State. I actually kind of had the horseshoe, the Ohio State University.
The horseshoe. That's what this is. The sign they make, right? The horseshoe.
No, that's the U.
Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah, it's all right. That is my second favorite team, but no, I don't know. My notes for this game are that Iowa's going to get beat. I think Ohio State wins by 35, but I think it's going to be a close game in the first half. Iowa's offense isn't going to be able to do much, and as they haven't yet. But I think that defense holds their own and shows out like they have the rest of the year. And the only thing that could shift the tides is if they get a couple defensive scores. I know last time they played, Iowa took them to the woodshed, 55-24. Right. I don't think that's going to happen again because it's not at Kinnick, but you never know. I mean, they're a Power 5 team for a reason. If that defense gets a couple scores, maybe get some momentum on our side, we'll see. But I can't see anything but an Ohio State domination of this game, to be honest.
I've got a quick question. So whenever I'm looking to place some lines, you think it's going to stay close in the first half? Is that like 0-14 close, or is that like 0-30 close? Like where are we at as far as first half score?
14-3-ish. Yeah, I would say within 14 points, I would say.
Do you think right now the over-under in the first half, which I've been starting to get to in the NFL, it's kind of fun, Ohio State is 18-point favorites. Do you think they cover that? No. I'm assuming they're going to say it's 24-3 at that point. 21-3.
I would say no. I would say Iowa covers that.
A $5 bet on that Iowa money line pays out $125.
Fuck.
Just saying.
I may do that just because. I mean, it's $5.
You got to believe.
$5, and you can pop a bottle at the end of the night if fucking Iowa pulls the big win off. Couple that with some UFC bets later on. Jesus, that could be a hell of a day, or just terrible. One of the two.
A $5 bet on the Ohio State money line wins you 5 cents. 5 cents.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joey.
I was just going to say, that's my keys to Iowa winning. They have to – the defense has to score, and because God knows the offense well. So, I don't think anything comes out of this from the bye week. I do hear some rumblings that they are thinking about putting Padilla in. Just if Peter starts out bad, put him in. That to
That's
me
bullshit.
is the biggest cowardly bullshit in the fucking world, because then
Yep.
they're gonna go, see, we tried and nothing changed. It's one of the best fucking teams in the nation right now. Like, I think that is just fucking terrible if that ends up being true, because
I agree. That is absolute dog shit. We really went fucking ham on them last week, but
Yep.
my God, like again, you know what we thought was a stupid play early in the year, it looks genius by Michigan now. Hey, we're gonna have the player that won our games last year. He gets game one, and they had a very easy out of conference, so they are allowed to do that.
Yep.
But then they go, kid that we might want to play, he gets game two, and then we'll decide game three. They had an open competition. Like, waiting this late in the year, I've said it forever. I hope Padilla goes right when they absolutely need him. They go, Padilla, you're back in. I hope he goes, actually, I'm gonna just sit out. I'm gonna transfer. I'm gonna save my eligibility and really fuck him over. Like, they've just done nothing to help that kid or encourage him. Like, yeah, you're next up. We believe in you. You have the kid that's 131st probably in QBR and universally known as the worst quarterback in college football this year, and you're going, I don't see the upside of changing quarterbacks right now.
Right. And so this is a paraphrase quote.
Yeah.
But basically, Brian and Kirk both said this week. They feel that he would be just fine in a game situation and just as good as Petrus, but Petrus has practiced better. What? Put him in the game then. Put him in any of the other games. Oh man, if they put him in this game and don't put him in any other games, that's such bullshit. Fuck them.
They're only thinking about putting Padilla in if Petrus breaks both of his legs.
Right.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it. Might not happen.
Isn't that what Carson Wentz went through last year? He sprained or broke both his legs at the same, or it was rolled his ankles, both of them.
Yep.
How you do that is beyond me, but so I don't know, man. That one, like you said, I think the most encouraging thing is if you could keep this game within 14 to 17 points, that would be a major victory. That means you've held Ohio State up and CJ Stroud well enough. Your offense did a little something with it. Though I think Joey is a true Big Ten fan. He looks in the grand scope of things and goes, I hope Iowa doesn't keep it too close, because if Ohio State, they start doubting him, all of a sudden the playoffs people start questioning it at that point.
No, because I honestly think that Michigan is a better overall team this year than they were last year. So I can't wait for that game at the end of the year. I don't think their defensive line is as good, but I think the rest of their team is better than last year. So I think they still take it to Ohio State. So I don't know. I want Iowa to win, obviously, but I'm not losing faith. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I'm not losing faith. It's lost. It's just
right. Exactly. Basically.
Oh shit! You guys got any other comments on this one? Or are you good to move on?
Oh, hammer that Iowa money line. Win $125.
There you go. We're biggest.
And if
dog
they
of the
don't,
week here.
You've lost $5 whole.
And now that I got that out of the way, I got to go make a drink so that I can keep drinking till Saturday.
Sounds good, bud. Well, we'll get into some of the big games for Week 8 here. I try to keep it to teams that still have like playoff implications, and we still have quite a few ranked matchups here. My backup team, Syracuse, still undefeated. They're playing at Clemson this weekend. Number 20, and they're 14 playing at 5 Clemson. We've got 20 Texas at number 11 Oklahoma State. We've got number 9 UCLA at Oregon, at number 10 Oregon here. And then number 17 Kansas State at number 8 TCU. So we've got a lot of conference implications. We've got a lot of national picture implications. I guess out of Trent Clark, which one's your most anticipated matchup of the weekend?
I'm going to go ahead and say K-State at TCU. This is one of the final 2 big hurdles TCU has as far as a ranked opponent. I do believe they still have Texas to go here in a couple weeks. It might be mid to late. I'm thinking mid to late November for TCU, Texas. November 12th is when that matchup happens. So, K-State, and then they've got, the cupcakes like Iowa State to play. So
we know pushover.
Yeah.
We probably know who's going to win.
We might lose, but we're going to do it by 1.
Yeah.
Hey, KU lost by a touchdown to them. Okay.
Yep.
38-31.
Yeah.
So, they just pulled out a big gritty win versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's a legit team. They were on the cusp last year. They're still legit. I think Oklahoma State's probably the second best team in the Big 12 right now, right behind TCU. I think TCU is legit. Like they're surprising everybody. They're a good freaking team. I disagree with Trent. I think Texas is a little worn down. They're going to finish in third, but they're not going to be the number 1 team coming out of the Big 12. So,
all right.
The one thing that we can agree on, before Joey gets back and disagrees, but it's bullshit that this Kansas State TCU game is on FS1. If you look at the rest of these games, Syracuse at Clemson, ABC. Texas at Oklahoma State, ABC. UCLA at Oregon, Fox. They're getting the big networks to play these games, and then one of the biggest games in the Big 12 this year that has conference implications, and if TCU wins, potentially playoff implications, and they have it on a backup network. I mean, that's just bullshit, man.
Who owns ABC, and then who owns the same company that owns ESPN?
Everything.
Who's trying to explode the Big 12?
Yeah, I know.
Might
The
be
one who was gargling a Longhorn last weekend. It was ESPN. Joey, you're close enough. We got you.
What did you want me to disagree with?
The Big 12 with the about the channels.
Big Ten.
There we go.
Go Big Ten.
Well, none of these. Notice we said the big games of the week, and none of them are Big Ten.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no reason Ohio State should be big noon. Like that should definitely be.
It's only a 30-point spread.
Exactly.
Anything can happen.
And put Ohio State on the Big Ten Network. I mean, it's not that hard. So
yeah. No,
in regards to the other matchup, your other undefeated team, did you see how many points they're getting from Clemson for this matchup?
13.5.
Mm-hmm.
I already got Syracuse covering that.
Really?
They got a very solid running back with Sean Tucker. I think with Syracuse, they haven't they've covered. I think it was 4 the last. Give me a second. I have my reasons in front of me here, but I mean, Syracuse is one of the few teams in the ACC that has played them well year to year. Here's my reasoning. Sean Tucker and the Orange will be looking to control the clock and limit the time their offense can be on the field. Solid run games. Clemson has failed to cover the last 2 home games versus Syracuse. I don't think Syracuse would be enough to beat them. It would be a fun story if they did, especially at Clemson, but Syracuse usually plays them within a touchdown. So I think 13 is just too many. It felt the same as when we saw Iowa State was 16-point underdogs at Texas. I get one team has the far superior talented players, but I mean, I feel pretty good about Syracuse in this game.
Didn't one of us pick Clemson in the playoffs this year? Was that Trent?
I picked them to be a disappointment this year.
Okay.
I think I had him at 4th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Clemson going to be overrated this year. Only at 5th still.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I picked them to be overrated too. So
what was Texas ready to start the year? Because I picked them to be
18th
overrated.
20th.
They're 20 right now. So
yeah, they exactly even. Trent, who is your most underrated team? Do you remember?
My most underrated team? I think I picked Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was Wisconsin.
Yeah, but what was my bold pick with Oklahoma?
Yeah, no, that was still on point. The Oklahoma not making a conference championship game and losing. I think he said losing at least 3 conference games too.
Yeah,
it was pretty specific.
This is kind of fun. I am going to pull up that agenda from the first week, and we could do a little mid-season check-in with what we did.
Yeah.
So I had to look up UCLA and Oregon. I was hoping that would be a Pac-12 after dark, because I'm going to be playing golf again on Saturday. So, but it's at 2:30, so it kind of sucks. I was hoping that'd be the night game. I was going to watch that.
save some of that for prime time. That is the thing I love and hate about college football is sometimes you're getting a top 10 matchup at the 11 o'clock slot, but then it sucks when you have such all the great games at the beginning, the day, and then the Pac-12 after dark and then the Hawaii game. It's just like two losing record teams. It's like, God, we climaxed too early. Now we're just kind of meandering into the night.
Yeah, we're probably going to get like Arizona State and Washington or something.
It's Washington at California.
Is that what it is? I was just picking up two bad.
The ABC primetime game is Minnesota at Penn State.
So I don't like doing this because this looks terrible for me.
I had your most underrated team.
Number 26, Iowa.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh no.
Bryant had LSU, Trent had Wisconsin, Clark had Arkansas. Will be top 10 end of year.
Yeah, it's not happening.
No.
Who's my underrated?
Houston.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, we did not do well with this. We did all right with the overrated. I mean, if we still think Texas is the best, then Clark's isn't great. But Oklahoma, USC, Texas, Clemson. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and then
Your
next
boy called Oklahoma being overrated. Mostly because I'm a hater.
But then major predictions for the beginning of the season. Bryant had Nebraska starts 3-1. Nope.
1-3 and fired their coach.
Yep. Trent, Oklahoma struggles under Venables, so that was good. And then mine was spot on. Miami is officially back and wins the ACC in Mario Cristobal's first year. So, yeah.
Tyler Van Dyke, Heisman favorite right now, right?
Dude, he looked great in that last game. I hope they let them just run and gun now. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. No one cares.
No one gives a shit.
No,
he'll get him there. It seems like they've got some of the pieces, but I mean that's a good thing about Miami. When you have the NIL money and the illegal money they've been paying players all the time, anyways, you've already got this established fan base. I mean, you just got to get fans to an actual stadium. Right.
Exactly. So, sorry, that was my little interruption for the rest of the podcast.
Oh no, you're good, man. I would say I think for me, obviously, they're my second favorite, and I've already stated I think Syracuse is going to compete with Clemson. If they beat them, great. If not, I think it will really at least solidify. If Syracuse can keep it within a touchdown, they don't drop. I think past 17. You know, if you're Syracuse, you'll take that moral victory and keep in the top 25 at that point. But Clark, you said Kansas State. Trent, what was yours again?
Well, I said I was going to be big 12 homer and the TCU K-State game because, TCU is still undefeated. But I said I kind of wanted to watch that UCLA Oregon, but it's not the late game. It's 2:30.
DRT or DTR for UCLA, Joey?
I'll be golf.
DTR. Yep.
So,
DTR, Bobo, and Chabernet. They are. They're going to run rush out of Oregon. I love UCLA this year. They just look good as shit.
What would you say there? I mean, because they got Chip Kelly, and he seems to be not like the innovation that he had with Oregon when it was really hurry up and everyone was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. What would you, if you had to break it down in two sentences, what makes UCLA so good?
Chip Kelly is letting DTR be DTR and play his type of game. And he's also supporting that with big physical receivers and a running game that smashes you right in the face.
Excellent. And in two sentences, too. I appreciate it. That's the professionalism you get from Pulse of the Heartland.
That's what I was told to do.
Yes, one of us got really drunk and deep throated the microphone last week, but you also get good analysis like this.
Whoa!
Yeah, we haven't I would say we were a little more calm this week, so we apologize to everyone that was anticipating that again. But any other big games I might not have put there? Like I said, I just put down the top 25 matchups that had playoff implications. But any other major games that you guys are looking at?
Iowa, Ohio State.
Yeah, we touched on that one.
No, I think Minnesota, if you're looking for straight up Big Ten smash mouth football, Minnesota Penn State is going to be a good game. They're both Minnesota's 4-2. Penn State's 5-1. That should be a good battle there. So,
I would say, Clark, I think you just put in there Kansas plus 9.5 at Baylor. That's a big game for you. Do you think they stop the skid, or do they at least cover?
I think they'll at least cover. I don't know. Baylor's been struggling. This is a good chance. I feel like KU's been on the cusp. I think they'll get the win. No, it is at Baylor, but I think Kansas gets back on the right track. I think they get out of there with a win.
Did you say Daniels is back now?
I'm not real certain. I'm going to have to look it up. I think they're okay with either one. I think Bean can get the job done. He's proved to be reliable at least. So,
good.
Hey guys, the over is over. Just FYI.
Yeah,
that's been over for a while.
That happened a long time ago.
I know. I just saw the newest touchdown that they didn't throw to DeAndre Hopkins. The fuck, guys. I need to stop listening to fucking pregame shit because I took DeAndre Hopkins on a flyer.
I do have a question for you regarding this week's matchups. Why is Ole Miss a 1.5 point underdog to LSU this week?
Good question.
That's easy money right there, baby.
Yeah.
I'm getting it pulled up here. I really can't think of. I mean, other than did they win or lose last week?
They won. They're undefeated.
Yeah.
They pulled it out against Mississippi State. Came back in the fourth quarter.
Auburn. They were playing Auburn.
Yes, thank you. Mississippi State was. Oh
know.
God, I'm an idiot.
Why?
Wait, Ole Miss doesn't play this week.
Yeah, they do. 7-0 Ole Miss,
Mississippi
5-2
versus
LSU.
I don't see it on Sorry, ESPN's glitching. I don't see it on there.
Well, I mean, undefeated Ole Miss, but they're playing at LSU, which Death Valley. That's gonna swing you at least 3 points in LSU's favor. But you got to look at it. Who are LSU's two losses? Tennessee, who's a fucking juggernaut right now, and a 1 point loss in one of the craziest games that we've all seen in some time in Florida State in the first game of the year and the first game under Brian Kelly. So they're not as terrible as we all just remember the muffed punts and all the shit from week one, I think, still.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be sitting here next week with that line, that we're surprised about. And we're all going to sit here and we're going to say, Vegas knows.
Well, I'm looking at LSU's wins. Southern, Mississippi State, University of New Mexico, Auburn, and Florida. Those are LSU's wins. So, I don't know.
But Mississippi's, I don't have the first two games, which you got to assume they're just going to be garbage games. But their last five is at Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, a close 3-point win versus Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Auburn. I mean, they haven't played anyone this year. Yeah. You can say Kentucky in the one game it was very close. So I mean, I think we're overhyping Ole Miss a little bit in this one. But
is the SEC trash? Is that what we're saying?
I've been saying it for years, not because their product is typically trash, it's just because I don't like them.
I care about you guys. I wouldn't stick on that take. I care about you.
No. One thing I did see, the people that follow the charter flights, again, I don't have the information if it's 100% accurate, but Lane Kiffin to Nebraska. Do you think Nebraska would open the checkbook for him?
God damn it. I hope not. I don't want to hate Lane. I don't. Man, I really don't.
Well, you don't have to. They can become your 10th favorite team.
No, fuck that. No.
Who does Joey want to hate? That's who he thinks Nebraska should hire.
Urban Meyer. That will just be a
you don't want that, Joey.
I would hate them so much. I would probably like them. Like they would be reverse polarization for my hatred and go right back around the sphere.
I figured you were close to that point already.
Man, nope. It's just all
be
the
like
way
negging or something. Yeah. It's so much you like it. I don't know. I saw someone that they saw a plane from Oxford, Mississippi, private jet going up to Lincoln, Nebraska. So I don't know, man. Nebraska's at the pocketbooks, man. I think they're ready to pull the trigger on the biggest candidate they can.
Matt Rule?
I think the rumors I've heard is Matt Rule is going to take a year off just to get the stink of Panthers off of him. And then after he does the year in media that all these coaches like Sean Payton, all of them do, then he comes back smelling like roses.
Do you think, though, if –
my take on Wednesday?
Yeah.
So do you think that you say take a year off to get the stink of the Panthers off him, but if you think that Nebraska offers him a bag, he takes a year off, I say he would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, I think that's what he would do. Like, if he did that a year later, everyone would be like, oh, Matt Rule, you kind of remember him a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, if someone offers him a bag, they're going right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the three coaches that I don't want to go to Nebraska because I don't want to hate these coaches, Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, and probably Matt Campbell. I don't want to hate any of those coaches. The rest of the country, I don't really care. I hope they hire Cheese Dick. That would be awesome. That's just enough level of hate for me to just not like them anymore. So that'd be okay. But yeah, I also need to clarify because I only have Iowa, Miami, West Virginia, LSU,
Oregon,
no,
UCLA,
and UCLA. I'll just say UCLA this year. But yeah, that's my top 5 favorite teams. Iowa, for real, is my favorite team.
I mean, you other two, do you have any more than a top 3 for favorite teams?
I mean, Iowa State, obviously. And outside that, I can't think of one that I'm like,
all right.
All right.
I have a hard time naming one.
Yeah, I was going to say, Clark only covers the Kansas teams because we ask him to.
True.
If Clark lived in a different state, he wouldn't be covering Kansas and KU. He'd be covering the teams in that state.
Yeah, it's a good thing my wife's a huge KU fan. Like, that's the only reason you got this.
If he lived in Colorado, he'd be covering the Buffaloes, okay?
No, I'd be covering the Colorado State Rams.
The Rams, oh yeah.
Or Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah. So when I say favorite teams, I mean, if these teams are playing, I'm going to root for them, but I don't follow them religiously like I do the Hawkeyes. My weekend isn't made or broke by one of these teams losing. But Miami, just because of the mid-90s or mid-2000s, I fucking love the U and all of what Jimmy Johnson did, and then them versus Ohio State. That was my favorite championship game for forever, to the Rose Bowl. West Virginia, just because of Pat White and Steve Slayton on NCAA football, and then Noel Devine after that. LSU, because I love Death Valley and I love Ed Ogeron. And Mizzou, we said UCLA. And UCLA just this year because of DTR. So I don't know. Everyone makes it out like I don't have all the love for Iowa.
Been a lot of hate this year, Joey. That's where we're just kind of exploring how far the love goes for other teams.
We're speculating your fandom free agency right now.
Well, honestly, oh man, can I possibly take a football free agency and love the other sports at the university? If they don't get rid of Brian Ferentz, I may have to give up on being a Hawkeye football fan.
There's always room for one more Cyclone in the fall, Joe.
No, I can't do that. I'm sorry, guys.
That's the only exception. You either have to like the Hawkeyes or you can come over to Iowa State. No,
I will never be a fan of anyone in the Big 12.
Or you have to have a shirt of that team. That's how you show you're a true fan. So you can rep the UCLA or Iowa State like this.
I like defense way too much to be a fan of any team in the Big 12. Sorry.
What about the team in the Big 12 that has the best defense?
Yeah, that's Big 12 defense. That's not defense. That doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
And don't even say you shut down Iowa, because I could shut down Iowa by myself.
Well, we shut down Iowa.
That doesn't count either.
We've shut down everybody we played, so there's that.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on. This isn't a Joey podcast. My bad.
Yeah. I was say one thing. I don't know why I put it this late here. I had the Iowa State bye week thing. Was there anything more we wanted to say? If they had to fix, if there's one thing we have to fix in the bye week, what is it, Trent?
Blocking on punts.
Yes.
Jesus.
I agree. I think we're going the right. Honestly, just keep reiterating. The one thing I saw in the Texas game was Decker's stare down every single throw he made. He was just narrating it the whole time. Whether he stopped throwing to X as much, which helped because they were anticipating it, but he was just telegraphing where he was throwing the whole time. So hopefully they keep making these plays where he can use his strengths, which is his arm, over the line just needing to block better as well. Because he's not mobile. He struggles with that. So hopefully, versus Oklahoma, which we're going to need to be able to score points. I think the defense can stop Gabriel a little bit better than what people anticipate. But are we going to be able to score and keep up with them at this point?
So yeah, I think Iowa State, they did this versus Texas a little bit. They actually threw the ball down the field, one, and they hurried up. Like they didn't. I feel like when they kind of run that hurry up offense, they're more efficient. They don't let the defense get in a rhythm and get things set, and I think that really helped. So just do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get to our pick'ems. I know there's a lot of guys that have been watching this live and have been asking us questions throughout here. Kind of our locks of the week. Joey, do you want to go over the locks that we had last week and what hit and what missed?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know. My screen froze for the stream, but you can still hear me and see me, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I don't need to see you guys. So yeah, last week I had the over 68.5 for the Oklahoma State TCU game. Said I'd take it if it was 100. Final score was 83, so I hit that one. I also had to pick Wisconsin. I didn't have to, but it was the only smart choice for my Big Ten pool to win $510. And me, I was in the final three. Two of us picked Wisconsin. We lost. One of us picked Purdue, and he won. So he won $500. So that
you would
was
have expected
losing.
a Purdue upset in October.
Right? Mother.
How the Iowa fan didn't see that is beyond me.
I almost took Illinois, but I was hesitant because they were playing at Minnesota, and then Minnesota just shit the bed. So,
Let's fight the Illini, dude. They might be legit.
Yeah. Bert's got them playing real well.
Mm-hmm.
But then Trent had Baylor covers -3.5, and that missed. Baylor lost. So, yeah.
That missed before we could announce our locks of the week. During the pod last week. That's how bad that pick was.
Why didn't we have you pick another one?
He said he wanted to be a man and take it.
Yeah, legit.
Took it right on the chin.
Yep. This ain't scripted.
True.
But then we've also got Bryant with KU at Oklahoma over 62.5. That hit. Iowa State +16 at Texas. They did cover that, even though they ended up losing. And then TCU -4 against Oklahoma State. So they only won by 3? Yeah. And Clark money line with Tennessee over Alabama. Big pick of the week, and Big Balls over there got his pick right.
Big cojones.
Yep.
Big cojones.
Good for you, Clark. Good job, man.
Yeah, +262 on that one if you put money on it. So hell of a
Too bad
pick.
it was in like a 23 deep parlay.
So oh fuck. Well, I guess Joy. I have your name at the top here, Joy. What's your pick of the week?
Hold on a second. I'm taking UCLA winning over Oregon this week, and I was trying to change my background to a UCLA thing since they're my favorite team, but that didn't work.
UCLA is actually pretty solid odds. They're +192 right now.
Yep. And I saw they were giving up points. So Oregon's the favorite, obviously, because at Oregon. Yeah, I'll take UCLA continuing on this roll. I think they're, like I said before, I think Chip Kelly's letting DTR be DTR. I think they're a good team. So I'm going to take that. And then I also have Ohio State winning by 35. That's just me being a hateful Hawkeye fan right now.
I don't know, man. I think that's just too much for a Kirk Ferentz team, but this has not been a Kirk Ferentz team as of late. That doesn't sound
I would not be
right.
surprised if it's like 44-3 or some shit like that. I don't think Iowa scores in double digits, to be honest with you. And I think Ohio State has a amazing offense that just starts putting points up in the second half, and they're not going to sit people if they're not big going into the fourth quarter, not up big.
Yeah.
So they'll just keep playing them. So
they understand the game. You gotta win big. If you have any game that's within relevance, or that people can start making the excuse, well, maybe if one, the 50-50 ball, they know the game.
Right.
They're going to win by fucking 70 if they need to, late in the year. So,
yep.
I like both those. Golly, hold on, Trent. You want to go over yours? I want to look up the alternate line for Ohio State by 35 points here.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, we kind of touched on this earlier that Texas is a 6.5-point favorite over Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State covers that. So I got them covering 6.5, and it wouldn't shock me if Oklahoma State wins that game. So, but I'm not taking the money line. I'm taking the points.
No balls.
I like that one. No balls. What the hell?
I say that because I'm taking the OK State money line. I think they win this week.
Okay.
Nice.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Oklahoma State money line, and then you have the Ohio.
I have the Ohio State to cover the 29.5 point spread over the Hawkeyes. Did you find what the alternate spread is? What the odds are there?
If you can keep yammering on for a minute, I can find them. But
are you thinking about taking the alternate spread? What are you doing there?
No, I'm just kind of, now that I have found where we can find these alternate lines, I'm always kind of curious to see. I'm always just kind of see how good the odds are, because there's some people that are just so, like this week when we're talking about the Chiefs.
Yes,
only a 3-point favorite.
We have sex bots following us. Fuck yes, we made it. We made it. Thank you, 69 Girls XYZ.
Hey,
Yes.
Bryant. Ohio State by 34.5 is plus 158.
Okay, that's not terrible. I mean, that's not great. I'd rather just take the minus 29.5 and give yourself that little bit of leeway there. That's just a late game touchdown. Yes. Thank you, 69 Girls XYZ. Free girls in my city? What?
Yeah.
Should I? Bryant's interested?
OnlyFans? Question mark. So,
should we? Should we remove these? I'm on it. Don't worry.
Oh God.
Get out of there, Dark.
If Kevin can do it, we can do it, right?
Yeah.
For my picks here, I would say I'm already 1-0 on the week. I had Virginia, Georgia Tech under 47.5, which if you watch either of those teams, they're both hot garbage on offense. I would say that under's hitting pretty easy. I had a couple of the same ones. I had Oklahoma State covering 6.5 here. I'm going to make my two locks. I think I'm going to have Syracuse plus 13.5. I really think they play them close. I don't think Syracuse necessarily wins. I think they're going to play them close for. If you didn't hear my reasoning, rewind a little bit, give us that extra listen. The other one, strictly because I'm going with my heart or my head and stats, I'm going to have Texas A&M -3 covering versus South Carolina. Did you know that this is one of 3 teams that has never beat another team in their conference? South Carolina, they are 0-8 all time versus Texas A&M. So I'm just going to go strictly for they've never beat him. It's not going to happen this Saturday. Everyone keeps loving Spencer Rattler, and he's just not what he was his freshman year, So,
all right.
The other two that for that as well, the conference teams that have never beat another conference team, Louisville, they're 0-7 all time versus Clemson, and then Duke is 0-19 all time versus Florida State.
0-19.
Wow. Yeah, so that one's at least a little more relevant. The other two, it's like, well, they just joined the conference; they don't play every year. I have some random college football stats. You want me to just hot fire them out here?
Sure.
All right. Joey, you're going to want to plug your ears. Ohio State players with more offensive touchdowns than Iowa. C.J. Stroud, 24 offensive touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., 9. Mayan Williams, 8. Iowa offense, 7. Joey, you don't seem shocked.
No. So I was saying that stat from earlier this week that in 24 starts, fucking Petras has 21 touchdowns. CJ Stroud has 24 in 6 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the last 3 years, 127 of 131 FBS teams have won at least one game as an underdog. There's only 4 teams that that are without an upset in Only 4 teams have gone without an upset as an underdog in that 3 years. Can you guys list any of them that have never won as an underdog?
Nope.
Just throw a guess out there.
Never won as an underdog?
Yeah.
In the last 4 years.
In the last 3 years.
3 years. Texas.
Well, one of them is Big 12, so you're getting warmer.
Kansas?
Oklahoma. They're 0-2 as an underdog. Kansas would have won as an underdog versus Texas last year.
Okay.
In an ACC team.
Clemson.
Yep, 0-1 as an underdog. The other 2, I don't know what conference they're in. FAU is 0-10, and South Florida is 0-23 as underdogs.
Isn't it crazy that Oklahoma, they've only been an underdog twice in the last 3 years, and Clemson's only been an underdog once in the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Right.
Wouldn't it be just terrible to be a fan of a team like that? Just favored every week, just expected to win, whatever.
I would hate that.
That would suck.
You never have the underdog mentality. You're just going saying, we should win this. Too easy on the heart. You really need to, like some people that I know, you really need to build your team up. And even though it's a rebuilding year and you start 3-0, you really have to, say, surely this team's not going to break my heart. And then 4 gut-wrenching losses later, you're going, this is the team I know and remember. It's like nostalgia at that point.
I can't think of any teams that did that.
No, not off the top of my head either.
Yeah.
So,
literally off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I had a few others that were talking about who Ohio State and Georgia have beaten compared to Tennessee. Tennessee should be the number 1 team in the country. This is where we bitched about it this whole time, but preseason rankings just suck. Georgia just gets to stay at the top because you thought they were the best at the beginning of the year, and you don't want to look wrong now. I do appreciate the teams that are the writers that will change their picks rather than, I picked them number 1 and they haven't lost yet. Go with the flow of college football. Tennessee right now is the hottest team. They're the best team right now. Georgia stumbled versus Missouri. Alabama just lost. I don't know. It's just frustrating when you see a team that should be number 1 in there. Let's get some chaos going. That's all.
So here's a question. Do you think that the college football playoff actually has this right where they don't do rankings until week 7 or whatever it is, week 8? That's what maybe the AP poll should do that. No rankings, no preseason rankings. Rank them after we've seen them. See the product on the field.
I agree. I think you wait 6 weeks. I think you get your out-of-conference games. You get your one, like most teams, you get your one Power 5 out-of-conference game. And then you get 3 conference games within, Iowa State. You have your Iowa and you got your 3 Big 12 games. Okay, now you can see a team – because, think, we were getting votes and we were getting close to top 25 3-4 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden there's not even anyone sniffing that we would be getting votes, Yeah. I think it should be after week 6, you at least have a sample size at that point compared to, they're coming, they brought in Caleb Williams. They deserve to be number 6.
Yeah.
So Joey's having some connection issues. To be honest, I think we're going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon here. I don't know. I would say, listeners, if you have any questions on that or anything that you'd like us to discuss, kind of open forum, it's going to start expanding here soon. Once we actually do see the playoff picture and more stuff coming up, I think we'll be able to jump into that more. But I don't know. I just always, I don't know. Tennessee being good, I just want to see them at number one. Just something different than Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, the same fucking three for the last decade, you know?
Did you give a stat to back that up?
Which one?
It was the Tennessee being number one.
Yeah,
I do have one
here. And
so
this is just based. Go ahead.
There's only one team in the nation that's beat 4 top 25 teams and averages over 30 points a game, and that is Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly. Here's who Georgia has beaten so far. Number 10, Oregon, and that was a ass kicking. That one, like I said, I still don't confidently bet on Oregon because of that game, even though Georgia is top 2-3 team in the country. Number 10, Oregon, Samford, South Carolina, a struggle versus Kent State, a struggle versus Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt. Tennessee, they beat Ball State. Number 17, Pitt, Akron. Number 20, Florida. Number 25, Florida State. Number 3, Alabama. I don't see how you don't say Tennessee is the number one team at that point.
Right.
So, I don't know. Now that I got that off. So 69 girls, XYZ. If you have any comments on the playoffs, just let us know here. Otherwise, do you guys have anything else, or should we wrap it up here?
I got something. Longest winning streaks in the University of Hawkeye history as a quarterback. Ricky Stanzi at 13. CJ Beathard at 12. Spencer Petras also has 12. What the fuck is this world?
What was that?
Longest winning streaks as a starting quarterback at the University of Iowa.
Because
Ricky Stanzi was 13. CJ Beathard with 12. Spencer Petras also with 12. He's tied for second.
So it was because he didn't start the 4 games that Padilla did versus Kentucky and Michigan that lost, right? I wish Kirk would have brought that stat out in a press conference and just see everyone in their heads explode in that room. Petras actually has 12, and everyone tries to fight it, and they're like, watch
for Padilla to start this week, and then Petras is gonna get like 3 more wins this year and be number one. God.
So Joey, you can thank Iowa State for not giving Petras the number 1 winning streak, because if he would have won, that would have put him at 4 games.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would have just strengthened Kirk's fight so much for Petras for whatever God knows reason.
Yep.
So you're welcome. I'm glad we beat you, just because I'm trying to help my buddy out here, you know?
Thank you. I love it.
No, I just wanted to get one more bad stat in before the weekend. So
I think maybe we should just start ending our shows like that. Random college stats, and then you just throw it out and discuss. So
we start with a trivia question. We can do random stats at the end. I like it.
There we go. Well,
we have a new workshopping in front of you.
Well, this is how the sausage is made, folks. So before we show our sausages here, Joe, you want to go over the socials one more time?
Yep. Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse. Hit us up on YouTube and Facebook. Join in on the conversation. Just search Pulse of the Heartland, or follow 69girls.xyz, and they'll bring you right to us. Yeah. Thank you. Tell all your friends. Make sure they're not sex bots, but yeah, we enjoy it if they are.
Hey, we're sex positive.
We made it, baby. We made it.
Hell yeah.
See what Kevin's bringing to the table?
Yep.
Exactly.
We're being noticed.
Yep. Golly, sleep with a sex bot, you're going to get a computer virus. So, all right, boys. I do appreciate everyone joining us in live, and we'll see you next week.